He said it like it was an achievement, like he deserved applause. My husband looked at me and said, "By the way, I haven't cheated on you in 3 years." And something inside me dropped. We've been married almost 14 years. We have 2 kids. I'm a stay-at-home mom. He works out of state as a welder and travels a lot. This wasn't even part of the argument we were having. It came out casually, proudly. I stared at him, completely caught off guard. I finally said, "That's kind of the bare minimum. But okay." I laughed it off, but my stomach didn't. What bothered me wasn't just what he said. It was how he said it. Like he was doing me a favor. Like loyalty was something he had to actively resist failing at. And then it hit me. Why 3 years? We've been married since 2012. Why not say, "I've never cheated on you in our marriage"? Why specify the years he's been on the road? That question wouldn't leave my head. The tone felt wrong. Too specific. Too proud. It reminded me of how my 4-year-old acts before birthdays. She didn't get Legos, she'll say. It's always Legos. And suddenly, I felt stupid for not seeing it sooner. I started replaying everything. I know he watches porn. I know I don't look like I used to. I lost a lot of weight recently because of a health issue. My body changed. A lot. He's been mostly kind about it. But still, it's not crazy to wonder if he's just waiting for an opportunity. The way he said it felt like he thought cheating would be understandable. Like distance equals permission. Now I don't know what to do. Do I confront him and say, "Hey, you saying that made me not trust you"? Do I tell him I wouldn't excuse cheating just because he's away from home? Or do I say nothing and try to forget he ever said it? Because part of me feels like I'm overreacting. And another part of me feels like I'm watching my own life. From the outside, I don't want to explode. I don't want to become paranoid. But I also don't want to ignore my gut. Because trust isn't just about not cheating. It's about not making your partner feel like fidelity is optional. Sometimes the problem isn't what someone did. It's what they thought deserved praise. I was young when he chose me. Pretty, soft-skinned, easy to desire. And now I keep wondering, if I leave this marriage in my 40s, is it already too late to be chosen again? When I met my husband, I was young and cute. That's not an insult to myself. That's just the truth. He noticed me because of how I looked. That initial attraction was what made everything else possible. Now I'm older. My face has lines. My body has changed in ways I didn't ask for. And sometimes I look in the mirror and think, who would want this now? People say, 40 isn't old. But it feels old when your value was once tied to being youthful. I don't worry about being alone because I can't love. I worry about being alone because I won't be seen. Because attraction feels like a door that quietly closes with age. And I hate what aging does to your body. How it slowly takes away the things the world rewarded you for. I compare my present self to my younger self constantly. Her smooth skin, her effortless confidence, her belief that being desired was just normal. I wonder if any man would ever look at me now and feel that spark again, or if that kind of love belongs only to the young. The idea of divorce doesn't just scare me because it's an ending. It scares me because it feels like stepping into invisibility. Dating apps, first impressions, being judged in seconds. I imagine myself next to younger women and feel like I've already lost before I've begun, not because I'm unworthy, but because society taught me that aging women are. But here's the truth I'm slowly confronting. The man who chose me when I was young didn't stay because I was cute, and being chosen once doesn't mean my ability to be chosen again expired. Attraction isn't just about skin. It's about presence, warmth, depth, things I didn't even have back then. Maybe starting over in your 40s isn't about finding someone new. Maybe it's about finally meeting people who see you, not just your age. Maybe the fear isn't that it's too late. Maybe the fear is realizing we were taught to believe our worth had an expiration date. Aging didn't make me invisible. It just made me real. I used to believe I had already won at life. A partner who was responsible with money, dependable at home, and steady in ways most people only dream about. And somehow, I still lost everything. Not because he cheated, not because of debt or betrayal, but because pressure, fear, and unresolved pain turned me into someone I barely recognize. I'm in my early 30s. He's a few years older. When we moved in together, it felt like adulthood finally clicked. He handled groceries, cooking, cleaning, without being asked. He tracked expenses, paid bills on time, planned ahead. Financially, we were stable. Emotionally, I thought we were unbreakable. Friends used to say I was lucky, and I knew it. He went above and beyond in ways that felt rare, especially when I compare my relationship to the chaos I saw around me. We talked about building a family, a future, a calm, steady life. But life had other plans. Within a short period after moving in together, everything started collapsing. Loss after loss, medical stress, fear, uncertainty about the future. I carried grief I didn't know how to process, anxiety I didn't know how to express. And instead of asking for help, I lashed out during a later pregnancy, one that should have been joyful. I found out something related to my health. It wasn't his fault. It had nothing to do with him. But I took all of it out on him anyway. I became explosive, cruel with my words, defensive, angry at the world, and he was the closest target. He tried to stay calm, tried to keep things stable. But eventually he left, not because he didn't care, but because living in constant verbal chaos broke him. I hate admitting this part, but I need to be honest. I wasn't the victim in those moments. I was the storm. Now we co-parent our daughter. We see each other regularly. We communicate politely, responsibly. And that might be the hardest part, because I see every time the life we were supposed to have, the house we talked about, the routines, the financial security paired with emotional safety. I replay everything in my head. If I had just stayed quiet, if I had been more grateful, if I had handled my fear differently. And yet, there's another truth I wrestle with. He wasn't perfect. He commented on my body more than he should have. He seemed happier when I was smaller. Food became controlled. Snacking became something I felt judged for. Intimacy disappeared. Reassurance disappeared. Even during pregnancy, when I tried to celebrate changes, I felt dismissed. And still, despite all that, I can't stop believing he was the best I could ever get. Responsible, reliable, rare. I compare him to the stories I hear. Financially reckless partners, emotionally absent spouses. And I think I ruined something good. Over a year has passed, and the emptiness hasn't faded the way people promised it would. I grieve the version of life that never got to exist, the family we planned, the stability we almost had. But here's what I'm slowly learning. Through pain, through therapy, through uncomfortable self-reflection. Loving someone doesn't mean erasing yourself. Stability doesn't justify control. And regret doesn't mean you deserve lifelong punishment. I made mistakes, real ones, but I was also drowning in fear, grief, and pressure without the tools to survive it. The lesson I'm left with isn't about blaming him or myself. It's about emotional boundaries, about learning how to hold pain without turning it into destruction, about understanding that a good provider doesn't replace emotional safety, and emotional pain doesn't excuse emotional harm. I don't know what my future looks like yet, but I know this. Healing isn't about going back. It's about becoming someone who won't lose themselves again, no matter how much they love. Some lessons come too late to save the relationship, but not too late to save yourself.